Hi, welcome. I'm instructor Jody Rubel, and I'll be leading you in Tai Chi on behalf of the Bhutan Library. Thank you, Anne Mazzara and Director Lottie. Um, I'm excited to be here in this capacity, and it's actually quite a good format because you get to watch the videos over and over again and practice home as much as you'd like, and that will actually really speed up our learning together, having allowing you access to this short 1 hour movie I'm making on the presentation of Tai Chi, the 37 posture form according to the teachings of Chen Men Ching. It's a Yang style. So to begin with, let's get into a comfortable shoulder width posture. So try to identify the width of your shoulder by feeling the points just above your shoulder, not on the outside. So it's a little more narrow than we usually project. And find the flatness of your feet. And just really listen to the connection of your entire foot and how the weight is pouring through the body, through the relaxed hips, and dropping, perhaps into the center of the foot, and then spreading out evenly through all four corners of the feet. That's your root, and that's your primary connection. And now we want to explore. So that's kind of the yin aspect of rooting. It's relaxing and dropping. And then there's the yang aspect, which is a feeling of rising and even filling. So we want to imagine an invisible cord tugging from the top of our head, pulling us upward, elongating the spine, and it's some kind of force that comes outside of us. So we can just rest and relax in the feeling and the knowledge that we're not making an effort. This is an activity of non-doing. So we allow the golden cord to tug us gently up, lengthening the cord, while at the same time we are dropping the tailbone, we are relaxing the waist, and letting the weight of the upper body seep down, pour into our thighs, and then into our feet. So we're trying to establish a really good, strong structure that's based on relaxation and harmony. And we want to find that sweet spot between yin and yang, where we're not trying too hard to get nice and tall and straight. At the same time, we just find that nice bit of relaxation. So the shoulders are relaxed, the chest is sort of hollow, allowing almost a feeling of being plucked up by the back, much like a mother cat lifts the kitten up by the scruff of the neck. We're being plucked up again by an invisible force, allowing us to just relax and use our imagination, our yi, our mental intention, to create that really good relaxed structure where our bellies become soft and are allowed to become the bellows that does the breathing. So we don't want to breathe from a constricted chest, but from an open, filling up and emptying out, kind of accordion-like action in what we call the dantian, or lower belly. Good. So once we've established this feeling that the hips are soft and relaxed, we can then explore the idea of sinking to rise. So we sink and allow the arms just to float up, and still executing the idea of non-doing. And the hands draw back, elbows are heavy, palms open, and we just simply let the hands ride down feeling the energy in the air, feeling the substance of the air moving through water. So the hands rise, the wrists are gently rounded and soft, and the palms open, fingers alive, sensing the air, perhaps sensing the chi in the air. Don't mind the kitty, she's just excited about all the chi. Yeah. So just let's move as if we are cycling a ball, and the ball is moving, and our arms are just rolling on the movement of the ball, just sweeping around, and we're riding it. Just our hands are simply going for a ride. Good. Let's pause for a moment and check in with our posture. Our top of our head is being pulled upwards. There's a slight maybe feeling of energy or buzzing on top of the head. The tailbone is dropped, and my knees are slightly bent, and my feet are flat. There's also a feeling of the pelvis being really loose and relaxed, almost like a bowl. And we want to angle the pelvic, the ball of the pelvis so that it is flat, and the tailbone dropping could be seen as this kind of lips scooping under, but that scooping under doesn't lift the front of the pelvic ball. The front of the pelvic ball is also level. So we want to become super aware of how the evenness of our waist affects our upper body. So just for fun, you can kind of lean over a little bit and lean back, and do that without including the pelvic ball. And it's just kind of disconnected. And now adjust the angle of your body from the pelvic ball, from this whole, what we call qua region of our body. And so we want to make all our alignment, verticality adjustments based on the angle of the ball, and not just the angle of the upper body disconnected. We want to connect the entire body. The pelvic ball is, of course, connected to the center of our feet, to our thighs, our inner thighs, all working together as one great muscular chi system. So let's unify our body, and again, experience the power. Dropping, the arms float. Almost as if they're riding on a big circular ball, and the ball moves and the hands are just in it. They're simply moving because they're attached to the ball. Good. And now let's explore this qua region just a little more. Let's stand shoulder width and a half, bend the knees, and we're going to do an exercise, a warming up, opening up of the qua of the hips exercise that is called constant bear. And we're going to shift the weight into the right leg 100%, keeping the left foot flat. And we're going to turn at the qua, which is the inner crease of the thigh. We're going to turn, and I hope you notice that my knee is totally straight forward. I'm not twisting at the knee or the upper body. I'm turning from here, and that is in turn directing the movement of the body. Now I shift to the other side, to the left side. I drop down the center of my left foot, and I turn my qua by creasing here on my inner thigh, and I don't twist the body. I'm not turning the body independently of the pelvic bowl or of the feet or of the knees. I am turning it from the central commander, we call. And as the commander dictates, we turn as much as we can turn at the hips. Good, and shift, and turn, shift to the left, and turn at the quad. Let the upper body just move along because it has to, because the quad, because the hips and the thighs and the root told you to. So now, instead of the brain, the mind informing the body, it's the body and the lower half of the body that informs the intelligence, which is a nice turnaround for our Western our habit of over cogitating things. And that's partially why Tai Chi is such a great meditation, because it brings us into the moment, into listening to the body and what it's up to and what it's able to do within the parameters of us wanting to have good verticality, good alignment. And we'll explore what that means, like in terms of improving our balance. Half the fight of attaining better balance is simply listening to the weight in the center of the foot and following a rhythm of walking or balancing where we're sure to root before we take our next step. So just continue opening the quad and let the arms just kind of ride with that nice churning of the hips, almost like you're gonna make butter if you just keep turning back and forth. We're whipping up the chi in the room and getting our energy going. Good. Very nice. So, in service of finding our alignment while adding a little bit more motion, because up to now we've really been pretty much static. How do we maintain this nice, straight, kind of still posture while moving? That is the one of the definitions of Tai Chi. Tai Chi is a moving meditation. So let us begin by dropping 100% of our weight into our left leg, keeping the hips level and relaxed, and stepping the right foot forward without any weight. And now I want you to slowly pour the weight as if you're pouring sand into an hourglass. So very, very slowly, very gradually, and very evenly. And when you filled it up, now it's time to take a step, because we have really listened to the weight as it's dropped and shifted, and we can then take an informed step rather than a hasty step. We can take a step that's based on our awareness of the situation, our listening, and our dropping. So you can, if you run out of room, you can do this backwards too, hopefully. This is also called ice walking. So it's a form of imagining that we're walking on an icy lake, and the exact thickness of the ice is not quite determined. So we are very, cautious, very careful in how we step. We listen attentively to be sure that the ice is heavy enough to handle our weight. keeping the tailbone drop, keeping the top of the head suspended, keeping the hips level, keeping the eyes and nose in line with the belly without twisting. And another image that I really enjoy is that of someone riding a horse and being comfortable and relaxed in the saddle. So that puts the horse at ease, knowing that we are listening to the movements of the horse. We're not fighting the natural rhythm of the horse, the up and down. We just kind of flow with it. So we can approach our own saddle in the same way. Like our thighs are the beast beneath us, and we want to have a friendly relationship with it. I don't know if you've ever seen a waiter, perhaps in Chinatown, who's been working all day. There's an attitude, like especially around their hips, that it's soft and they just are kind of relaxed in the waist and not working hard. This helps preserve the energy of the body, softening all the joints, circulating qi. In a sense, even oiling up the joints by moving in a relaxed way and helping their longevity and even regeneration. So there we have it. We have the idea of ice walking as being a waiter, or even being, we might imagine that we are parachuters, and this kind of area of the waist is being supported by the parachute, and we're just kind of sitting in the sling of the parachute and just really relaxing and opening up this area here. When our hips soften, the weight of the body, of the upper body, can then smoothly sift down into the ground. So let's enjoy that for a moment. Good. So I would like to begin to teach you the first few moves of the 37 posture form. I think we can get through a good number of them today. You'll be able to review this video as often as you want, and really learn it before our next video is going to come out in a week from now. So you'll have an opportunity to study this, and that will help us move along, and potentially even finish up the first 13 moves of the first third by the end of this series. And that would be great, because that's a nice piece of Tai Chi that you can play with and kind of loop it around. You can practice the first third as a loop, for hours. I have certainly indulged in that. It's very pleasant. So yeah, the idea is to find the structure and the strength and the vitality, but also the relaxation and the softness of the yin and the yang. So let's look for the pleasantness of it, as well as the fighting martial aspect of it too, which is intertwined with the whole craft, the whole art. So to begin, let's sit our feet, our heels together, and have our feet at a 45-degree angles. Good. And remember, the top of the head is suspended and the tailbone is dropped. And we're just going to keep our hips level, bend our knees, and drop the weight straight down into the center of the right foot. So much so that the left heel almost pops up on its own. We're going to take a very small step with our left foot to the left. Our heels are in line, and our left toe is now pointing to the north. We're going to say that looking straight ahead is Tai Chi North. Slowly pour the weight into the left leg, As you do, from the belly, turn the waist and turn the foot at the heel. And now both feet are lined up. Shift the weight back to the middle and rise. So that gives you your nice shoulder width stance. That opening provides you with the ingredients for that. And then we're slowly going to pour the weight, dropping into the center of the feet, and that's going to provoke the arms, or it's going to help them to lift, and then draw back the wrists, heavy elbows catching the air. Good, and that's the opening of our Tai Chi form. As I continue, I'm sorry, but I'm going to turn to the back wall, because that will give you a stronger orientation of your own directionality. So for right now, my feet are shoulder width, my toes are pointing to the north, my belly button and my nose are pointing to the north, and I will drop 100%. My hands just floated up and back, and I'm going to bend at the knees and drop 100% to the left foot. My right hand at the hinge of the elbow is going to rise. I'm going to turn my waist, swiveling on my right heel to the east, to Tai Chi East. I'm slowly pouring into the right leg, 40, 50, 60%, 100%, and I form a ball. Elbows are heavy and weighted. The palms of my right and left hand are relating to each other as if there's a ball in between them. And now I slowly turn my waist to the northeast. I step the left foot forward and slowly pour the weight. 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. As I shift, my left hand is going to rise, and then with another 10%, I'm going to just turn my waist and rotate on the right heel and square forward. And it looks like this. Our first move of our form is ward off left. The hand of the right, and my right hand is hovering over the right thigh, and my left palm is facing the chest. Notice there's a certain kind of circularity to my arm, more hose-like than angular. And I want to cultivate this feeling that my arms are not just harsh angles, but connected to my whole body as a round unit. Good, so let's repeat. My feet are shoulder width. I'll try from this angle just to give you a sense of what's going on. Hands float up, my wrists draw back, I catch the air. I drop into my left leg, 100% keeping the hips level, and my right hand just kind of floats up. Rotating on the right heel, I turn to the east. In this case, it's the east, to my right. As I drop up to 100% into the right leg, I scoop under with my left hand, I form a ball, and I begin to turn the waist back to the northeast corner. I step the left heel empty, no weight, and I'm now slowly going to pour the weight. And as I do, my left hand is going to be motivated upward from the slow shift of the weight. So I'm going to go 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. Good. And now my goal is to have 60% of the weight in my left leg. So for the last 10%, we're at 50%. I'm going to rotate on the right heel and square both my hips forward. My left palm is facing the chest, soft, relaxed, and my right hand is floating over my right thigh. So with both of my wrists throughout the form are in the shape of what is sometimes called beautiful ladies' hands. And they're always gently rounded, or almost always gently rounded. There's some exceptions here. Even in the beginning when we come down, there's a slight break in the wrist. But in general, the thumbs are soft and they're lined up with the ridges of the upper fingers. The elbows tend to be heavy and not to wing out, and the shoulders are always relaxed. So even when the arms do move, the shoulders really don't get involved. So we're going to be cultivating a lot of movement in these joints. The wrist joint and the elbow joint are going to get a lot of lubrication. So so again, from the back, the rear view, my feet are shoulder width, and I bend my knees just a tiny bit as I relax, throwing the hands up and wrist back. Now I drop, keeping the hips level, I'm going to drop the weight 100% into the left leg, which is going to help the right arm float up. I turn on the right heel. I slowly pour the weight into the right leg. 100% come up on my left toe. Step the left heel. Empty step with the left foot. And now I'm going to go up to 50% of the weight into the left foot. So 10, 20, 30. Watch my left hand. 40, 50%. And now my goal is 60%. So I'm going to just turn for the last 10%. And drop and square. So right now I have 60% in my front leg and I have 40% in the back leg. And this is what we call a bow stance. Good. Play around with your bow stance. Relax into it. 60% of the weight in the front leg, 40% in the back. The back foot is at a slight angle and the front foot is pointed straight ahead. Good. Actually, let's take a break on the form and just enjoy our what we call bow stance or 60-40 stance. And let's step back and try it on the other side. So drop 100% of the weight into the right leg. Turn the left foot out just at a slight angle up to 45 degrees. Shift the weight into the left leg and step, maintaining your shoulder width. Step your right foot forward, heel first, no weight, empty, and now slowly pour the weight into the right leg and square the hips. You can bring your hands up in a push leg position. My hips are perfectly square. I have 60% of the weight in my front leg. And very importantly, when we get into a bow stance, we want to make sure that the knee on the front leg doesn't go over the ball of the foot. So if I'm going out here, I'm potentially injuring my knee. I'm definitely pulling my tailbone out, and it's popping up, and I'm no longer in a comfortable saddle-like posture. Remember, we always want to feel like we're riding a thoroughbred horse, or we're just floating down in a parachute, and we're seated in the harness of the parachute, and we're just kind of gliding down. So once we get the knee too far over, the whole body starts to lean, and we can no longer feel that cushiony ride. So again, the knee goes to the ball of the foot, but not beyond. Hip square. We sit back. When you sit back, you can sit back 100% into the back leg, being certain that there's no weight being directed into the heel, but more into the center of the foot, and feel that weight radiating throughout the entire flat of the foot. And come forward, up to 60% into the front foot, and then come back. 100% into the back leg. Check your pelvic bowl, make sure that it's not tilted and bringing your whole body back or forward. You don't want to do that either. You want to have your pelvic bowl nice and stable. And this way that your upper body will be nice and tall and vertical. And the more vertical we can get, the better the alignment, and the better alignment, the better the meditation. My background is from an encounter with Zen. I practiced Zen for a number of years, and we would sit cross-legged, sometimes up to 10 hours every day. And what that would afford us, this kind of not rigid, but this unmoving posture would give us like a very, very nice alignment with the entire skeletal structure, not twisting or turning, just releasing, and basically allowing all the neurons to connect and communicate with each other from the brain down, all the way down to the spine. There's millions of neural connectors going up and down. So we afford them the opportunity to shoot their information up and down, but just by having a nice strong posture that's also relaxed and integrated with the whole body. So I wish that I could communicate with my studio audience, and at this point ask if there's any questions. I know there's so much information, but feel free to reach out to me. I'll give you my contact at the end of the class. But for now, let's continue learning our form. I've been giving you like a lot of background, warm-up information, and just general alignment cues. And from here on, we'll start making more progress with the actual form itself. That's the goal, is to learn this magical form. So we're standing in shoulder width, toes pointing forward, and we raise the power by floating the hands up, keeping the shoulders relaxed, keeping them out of the equation, elbows heavy, palms open, catching the air like a parachute. Keeping the hips level, direct the weight 100% straight into the left foot, and that's going to float the right hand up. We're going to rotate on the right heel. We're slowly pour the weight into the right leg, and the left hand is going to scoop under as we do. Come up on the left heel, turn the waist, beginning to turn the waist back to the north. Step the left heel forward, empty, shoulder width, and now slowly pour 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. At this point, my hands are both evenly raised. And now with the last 10%, up to 60%, we're going to rotate on the right heel. The right hand falls, and the left hand is in front of our chest. So this is called ward off left. It's a bow stance. And from here, we're going to keep pouring the weight into the left leg 100%, and we form a ball, flicking like this with our left hand over the right. Come up on the right toe and begin turning to the north, to the east, to your right. Keep the hips level. Step the right heel where the right toe was. So maintain your shoulder width, take a little step, and slowly drop the foot onto the ground, pouring weight 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 as we come forward. And now for the last 10%, we're going to rotate on the left heel, and we're going to square to the east. And this is called ward off right. And the hand configuration here is a little odd. I'll show you from this angle. The right hand palm faces the chest, and the left hand, fingers of the left hand are going to shoot over the thumb. Imagine that the right hand is holding a sparrow, that the chest of the sparrow is sitting in the right palm, and the left hand is perhaps petting the tail of the sparrow. So this has two names, ward off right, to complement the ward off left that we just did, also known as catch a sparrow by the tail. And what's interesting about this sequence is we get to experience what it feels like to chase a fast, quick, darting bird and stick to it. Because what we're doing in Tai Chi on a martial level is sticking and listening to our opponent, who's really ourselves. We learn how to listen to our alignment, we learn how to listen to our emotions, and we also learn how to stick to those feelings long enough so that we can really learn something about what we're experiencing. Ward off right, we have 50%, 60% of the weight into the right leg. Our left foot is in a good bow stance position, meaning it's at a slight angle to the northeast corner. My right palm is facing the chest, the fingers on my left hand are shooting over the palm. And now I'm going to ask you to keep the weight in the right leg, but turn the waist to the southeast corner. Good. So from this angle, it's going to look like this. I'm going to crease the quad. I'm going to keep my knee stable and straight. And I'm just going to turn from the quad. I'm not going to twist my upper body. It is uncomfortable, and it does break the soft spine that is, like I mentioned before, communicating all the information, the neurons firing up and down the spine. Once I twist the spine, that process stops. The meditation, in a sense, ceases. So we want to keep the meditation going even as we move. So turn the waist, crease the quad, turn from the hips, and sit back 100%. As you do, the fingers of the right hand shoot towards the ceiling, and the left hand is going to drop under the right elbow, as sometimes referred to, catching a drip of water. 100% on the left leg, turn the waist to the left, and allow the left hand to circle around the elbow joint, all the way from the back leg. The arm circles. When it gets to the top, it flops, and then we slowly pour the weight back into the right leg and square, which brings the arms back together and in a press position. And we end up 60% in the right leg, a good bow stance. So again, ward off right, I turn the waist, keeping the weight forward, I turn it to the southeast, I sit back 100% and catch a drip with my left hand on the right elbow, and I turn the waist all the way to the north. I circle the hand around, I flop the left wrist, and I slowly pour as I do. The right hand rises to meet the left hand, and then I square 60% of the weight in the front leg. From another angle, it looks like this. 60% of the weight's in my front leg. I'm in ward off right. I turn my waist to the northeast. I sit back 100%. I turn my waist hard to the left. I keep all the weight, 100% of the weight in the left leg. I'm keeping my knee over the center of my left foot. I circle the left arm around, keeping the elbow heavy. So resist doing this, but I want you to do something like that. When you get to the top, the left hand the left wrist is allowed to flop a little bit as we pour the weight into the right leg, up to 60%, square, and the hands press together like this. Press. So from press, we can sit back 100%, and the hands kind of open up as if we're hugging a small tree. And then we come forward up to 60%. The forearms turn and the wrist face forward. This is called push. relax the hips. Relax the hips, and that gives you this feeling that you're very bouncy, that you have shock absorbers, because the hips are so loose. Good. Whew. Working up the steam here. Okay, we have about 15 minutes. Let's take a little moment and do a little more ice walking, just to allow the energies to relax and settle a little bit. We're not used to all this kind of weird types of movements here that are based on the movements of nature, of clouds, of birds, of monkeys swinging through the trees, of snakes creeping down, reflecting the movement of nature, of the wind. Like, yeah, nature is manifest very strongly in this form, and we're trying to emulate the natural world. And that's part of the reason why these movements are so difficult, considering how simple they are, difficult to remember. Okay, I learned this in the monastery. Try walking and thinking about something that's meaningful and deep, something that you really care about. Maybe it's a parent, a loved one. Maybe it's just something that happened recently that just really warmed your heart. And think about it and notice if it changes those, positive emotions change the way you walk. It's kind of like in Zen, the contemplative walk. And it usually allows the hips just to be loose. I notice that, when people are walking through the city, they're intent on going from point A to point B. And this kind of thing happens, they get really tight here, and it's just, walking just becomes something that, an instance of using your body like a machine to get somewhere. So we want to take the machine out and bring the humanity into it, in the contemplation. And this, even at a fast speed, we can still notice how the emotions affect the body, and the hips especially. Good, play with that. It's really a wonderful exercise just to notice the difference between functionality and humanity. Good. And this Taoist pursuit, which is Tai Chi, is really about reclaiming our humanity and even our childish innocence. So the more we get in touch with nature, the more we also become in touch with our original being. Let's bring it back to our form. Let's do the opening, the raising of the power, and we're shoulder width, and our feet are flat, and our knees are just slightly bent, and the hands float up. And the wrists draw back to the shoulders, and the palms open, and catch the air. Bending both knees, keeping the hips level, I drop into the left foot, the right hand rises. I rotate on the right heel, I slowly pour the weight into the right leg. The left hand scoops around and under, forming a ball. I'm 100% in my right leg as I turn to the north. I step the left foot forward, heel first, empty step, and now slowly pour the weight as if we're testing the ice. 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. By the time I'm 50%, the left hand is chest height. And now as I go 60%, I rotate the waist to the north, and I drop my right hand, floating it over the right thigh. Relaxing the waist and squaring into 60%. Ward off left is the name of this posture. Now I drop 100% into the left leg and I form another ball, left hand over right, and I turn the waist. And I'm going to step to the east. I'm going to step my right foot where the heel was, slowly pouring the weight 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. The right hand rises. Rotate on the left heel for that last 10%. And now I'm 60% into the front leg. I'm in ward off right, also known as catch a sparrow by the tail. I maintain the weight in the right leg as I turn the waist to the southeast. I sit back 100%, squaring the hips to the east, and now I turn my waist to the north. I circle the left hand around, and when my hand gets all the way to the top, I begin shifting the weight 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. My right hand rises 60%. I square and press. Sit back 100%, and I'm going to hug a tree. 100% in the left leg. And now come forward up to 60% into the front leg. Open the palms and push. But remember, when we're in this type of bow stance, that our right knee never goes over the front ball of the foot. So we never end up like this, losing the tailbone drops and losing our vertical line upward. Remember, we're always being pulled upward even as we relax. So there's an ideal state, an ideal posture, and then there's what we can do without straining our body. And we want to find that middle ground of ideal, but we don't want to like puff up. And what we can do in a completely relaxed state. So that's the balancing act of Tai Chi. And through learning these kind of metaphysical balances, we also learn how to balance in our own body a little better. So we're able to drop all the way into one leg and step with the other. Drop all the way into one leg, keeping our nice, good structure and stepping into the other without losing our balance. Right? We'll be working on some more balancing exercises in the weeks to come. For now, I'm really trying to establish some good rudiments, some really solid alignment, understanding, so that we can begin to loosen up and move. In that spirit, let me do just a little bit of form just to show the idea of silk reeling, which is a continuous flowing kind of movement in Tai Chi we want to cultivate. But of course, first we have to learn all the little parts. But here, what we're heading towards is just a smooth, continuous flowing river of chi. It's still slow. So that's what we've learned up to so far, and that's the first push. And I'll just continue doing a little more, giving you a foretaste of where we're heading. Next week we'll be playing guitar, and hopefully White Crane spreads and swings. And next week I imagine we'll be doing Roshni, play guitar 2, and then Roshni 2. And then the week after that, I'm hoping that we can do punch and parry. And then maybe even finish off with crossed hands. And we'll thereby have completed the first third. We'll see how it goes. I'm committed to teaching it without a sense of rush, because there is no rush. I mean, if there's any urgency in Tai Chi, it's the urgency to experience the moment and to be here in our bodies, even if it's just standing here. This is an achievement in itself. Try just standing for 10 minutes, and you'll notice that it can be rather demanding. This will be the last, as Tai Chi practitioners, the last move we'll ever do. Like when we're 99, we'll get out of bed and we'll do our Tai Chi, and it'll just look like this, right? And it's still Tai Chi. I mean, it's very much Tai Chi. So while we can, though, let's do as much as we can. So heels together, toes at a 45-degree angle. This is from the very, very beginning. And our hips are level. The weight is 50-50. Now I want to drop 100% to the right leg. Step the left foot out to the side, toe pointing north, shoulder width. Pour the weight into the left leg, rotate on the right heel. And now both toes are pointing to the north. I rise, and the arms float up, drawing the wrists back, and catching the air with our palms. Dropping at the hips, 100% into the left leg, and the right hand floats up, rotating on the right heel. We sit into the right foot, 100% of the left hand scoops under. We turn to the east and form a ball, and now we turn back towards the north, stepping the left heel where the left toe was, shoulder width, and now slowly pouring the weight into the left leg as if we're testing ice. 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. My left hand is now shoulder height, 60%, and I drop my right hand over the thigh and rotate on the right heel so that my right toe is pointing to the northeast. And I square, and this is what it looks like more off left. I squaring to the north. 60% of the left leg. Now I drop 100% into the left leg. I form my ball again, left hand over right. I turn at the hips towards the east. I rotate it on the right toe, and then I step my right heel where the right toe was, shoulder width, slowly pouring the weight. The right hand rises. 50%, and now 60%. I square to the east. I leave a slight angle towards the northeast with my left toe, but my right toe is completely honed in towards the east. Keeping the weight 60% on the right thigh, I turn my waist to the southeast. I sit back 100%, keeping my vertical line. I catch a drip under my right elbow with my left hand. I turn the waist to the left and circle my left arm around the elbow joint, flopping at the top and then slowly pouring the weight 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 into the right leg. And I press. I sit back 100% and I hug a small tree. And I come forward 60% and push. So let's just play with this back and forth. 100% of the back leg, 60% forward. 100% of the back leg, 60% forward. And it's my waist, it's my thighs that are moving forward and back, and the upper body is moving along for the ride. So if I were to push a person in like actual life, I wouldn't shove them with my hands. I would bring the entire force of my whole body forward, and that would uproot them, it would lift them and throw them, as opposed to just simply shoving. But even more importantly, the idea is that we move with our whole being. And therefore, we are most likely avoiding any kind of conflict because we're moving with our whole being. We're not being reactive and shoving. We have to wait for everything to come forward. And that includes the heart. So we're going to move the heart forward, and that is going to effectively dismantle any kind of aggression. Don't you think? Cute. So I'm checking in on time. We have just 2 minutes to go, so I want to do the same sculling exercise that I did back and forth, but with the other feet. So we exercise both sides of our body a little bit. So the left toe is pointing forward, the right foot is at a slight angle to the corner, and we're going to have 60% of the weight forward. The knee does not go over the center of the foot. When we sit back, the weight is channeled into the center of the foot, 100% of the weight in the back leg. Be careful not to put it into the heel of the foot and get this kind of thing. And now let's move back and forth. 100% in the back, 60% forward. 100% in the back, 60% forward. Bring the whole body, bring the heart forward into any potential conflict, and the conflict is already dissolved. Like that. 100% back, 60% forward, 100% back, 60%. Keep the hips loose. Feel how they are constantly seeking the soft, quiet spot place. So they're always adjusting, looking for the non-hardness of movement and the non-doing of movement. Getting internal. This is an internal martial art. So finally, feet shoulder width together, toes pointing forward, slight bend in the knee. Breathing into our belly, sitting into the saddle of our hips. Relaxing the breath. Letting the top of the head be pulled up by an invisible cord. Slight hollow in the chest and a plucked up feeling in the shoulders, dropping, exhaling, and now inhaling, rising. Circling the hands around and feeling the resistance of the air as if you're pushing against a balloon, a large balloon. And now the balloon bounces back and floats the hands in the air. Now you're pressing again against the balloon. The compression is building, and finally it bounces back and around so that this becomes almost effortless. The hands just float up, reacting, bouncing due to the compression, circling, compressing, and rising with the whole body. Find the weight of the entire body and allow it to sift right into the center of the feet. Let it find, like almost like cement shooting down a chute. Let it build up there and like weigh everything down. And feel the lightness that is created when we weigh ourselves down in this way, in this Tai Chi fashion of dropping and relaxing. And almost as if you're getting ready to just float up into the stratosphere. This is how the ancient Tai Chi masters learned how to fly. Was by dropping, sinking, releasing. And the flight just takes place as a natural reaction to relaxation. Thank you for taking this journey with me, and next week we'll go far, I promise you.